Okay, there you go. Are we streaming? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, Assalamualaikum, good morning. So here we have, who's here? Besides Hanif, of course. Yefeng is here, Yuanling is here, Jim is here, Homing is here. Online we have Hanton, Samir, Lanbin, is that Lanbin?
Yeah.
Lanbin, alright. Yeah, Jimin, alright. Hanton and Jimin, we will want to arrange for your proposal defense, yeah? Hanton, you need to send your PowerPoint to me. I need to see your PowerPoint.
Hanton, join me now. Hanton?
Okay, it's okay, right. You need to send your PowerPoint before I say yes, yeah, because you already made many presentations. I just want to see your PowerPoint this time, not the presentation, just PowerPoint. But I'm not sure she's there or she's having breakfast or something. Leah is there. Yeah. Okay.
Hi.
How are you?
Fine, I will arrive to Penang next month.
Next month? Oh, good. 13 of June. Okay.
2 weeks.
Yeah, June.
Okay. I will update you all about the scheduling. Yeah. So today we have one presentation from Hanif. I'm looking forward to the. Hansen, I need to see your PowerPoint. Yeah, you don't need to make presentation. I just need to see your PowerPoint. Can you hear me, Hansen?
Yes.
Okay.
I can hear you.
All right. Yeah, I need to see your PowerPoint. Both you and I think Jimin, I've seen her presentation. I think she's all right now. But Jimin and Hansen, both of you send your PowerPoint. Then we want to arrange for your proposal defense to the committee. All right. Both of you haven't made your proposal defense yet. Yeah.
Yeah, haven't yet.
Okay. So we want to arrange for that one as the soonest possible time. It seems like the schedule is a bit tight for a lot of people over here. So I've been arranging scheduling for Chahole and then Tandis and Muhammad for Viva especially. And then of course now we have Rajih and Homing and Samir coming up for the.
Professor, last time I have already submitted my form.
Yes, you have.
Remember?
Yes, you're right. Yeah, very early form. Yeah, so we will not to arrange. So I just send your PowerPoint to me and Hansen too. Send your PowerPoint. Hansen, I haven't seen your finalized PowerPoint yet, so send your PowerPoint. So I just want to make sure one final review of your PowerPoint before we proceed to arrange for the proposal defense. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So today.
Professor.
Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Welcome. Okay, so today we have Hanif's presentation. So this is it's past 8 minutes now. So this is findings presentation from Hanif. Before you send us a notice submission, I suppose, yeah, before.
Oh, not yet. No.
Not yet, okay, right. So you need to prepare the whole draft report and stuff. Homing has already sent the form, so we'll process for that one. And Rajih too. Rajih, I'm not sure because he has some payment issues that he needs to handle. Is Rajih here? Not sure. Okay, Hanif, the floor and everything else is yours.
Okay. Yes. Let me share my second screen first.
Alright.
Okay. Okay, very good morning. Assalamualaikum to everyone, to Prof. Reevany, to all my dear friends, under all the students under Dr. Reevany. So this morning I'm presenting my thesis findings presentation. Actually, this is my second findings presentation. Hopefully there's some improvement. And my title of my thesis remains the same, which is a multi-centric model in community learning center for children of Indonesian migrant workers, in the case of Sabah, Malaysia. Before I proceed, my findings presentation this time will cover the first research questions as well as the second research questions. However, on the second research question, there will be some I still need to continue further for the second research questions. So, next slide is the introduction. So the migration phenomenon occurs massively within the Malay archipelago, or we call it as Southeast Asia, to be more familiar. The development of technological advance has risen more people to merantau or travel. In consequence, with the birth of nation-state typology globally after the newly international system under the Westphalian Treaty 1646, so the nation-state typology spreads across the globe, including the Malay archipelago or Southeast Asia, and because of that, migration has been categorized into two. Which is the first is domestic migration, and we now also have the international migration, because now lands are separated by borders, the sea is also separated by borders according to each nation state. For information, Malaysia is among the most popular host state among perantau or among immigrants, particularly from Indonesia. Such massive migration from Indonesia to Malaysia actually turning the host state policy, which is in this case is Malaysia, it turns the host state policy becoming more protectionist towards immigrants, leading immigrants to have lesser rights than the state citizens. And one of the rights that affects the immigrants are the rights to have education. We move on to my literacy review. So, in order to understand my research, it is very important for us to know at least the background about the workforce in North Borneo, or now we call it as Sabah. So, in this literacy review, I categorize into three categorizations. The first, this slide is talking about the pre-colonization. So, here it shows during the pre-colonizations, most of the workforce of North Borneo can be separated into two categories, which is the West Coast and East Coast, as you can see in the table. So during the pre-colonizations, before the colonization occurs, there were no terms or phenomenon like immigrants or other people from different land come to North Borneo to become a workforce. So during this time, the workforce happens between the local communities as well as the ethnicities within the North Borneo. And to the next literacy review, focusing on the colonization era. So the moment of colonization actually, it is the moment where forest products converts into colonial products. So at that time, before the colonizations, North Borneo is known for their forest products. So it was managed by the Brunei Sultanate and Sulu Sultanate. However, during the colonization happened by the BNBC, or British North Borneo Company, the products in North Borneo turns from the forest product into named so-called as colonial products such as rubber and tobacco plantation estate. So during this time, the colonizations, the British, the BNBC, they introduced importing laborers, especially from the Japanese and Chinese, to become the workers in the rubber and tobacco plantations. Why? Because the recent study says that the BNBC found that they are having a lack of population in North Borneo during that time. So in order to ensure that their plantation estate has enough workforce, they import laborers from other area in the Malay archipelago, also Chinese. And the third part of my literacy review, focusing on the workforce in post-colonizations up to this day. So during the post-colonization up to this day, it is the moment where in Sabah, the regularizations occur for the immigrants. So the Malaysian government started to change the migrant workers into national security issues. And in Sabah, there was a time where they are only allowed Indonesian and Filipinos to be the workforce in Sabah. But then recently, the government of Sabah, the state of Sabah, gave green light for foreign workers from Bangladesh, Myanmar, Nepal, and Vietnam also to work in Sabah. However, despite the Malaysian government has turned migrant workers or immigrants into a national security issues, labor-intensive sectors remain massively important in the Malaysian economy. As a result, Malaysian government or any plantation estate until nowadays still rely heavily in the migrant workers to become their workforce, because labor-intensive sectors needs a lot of workforce to operate the plantation estate. And then another section of my literacy review covers the social problem of Indonesian migrant workers. As I mentioned previously, that the numbers of migrant workers in Sabah remains to increase because of the need of the labor-intensive sectors until now still high in Malaysia, especially in Sabah. So because of the existence of Indonesian migrant workers increase, so issues within their communities started to occur. And one of the issues is the social problem is the children of Indonesian migrant workers. So issues in the children of Indonesian migrant workers can be referred into several categories, as I mentioned here. Some of them issues such as nationalism values, competency issues, and also literacy issues among the children of Indonesian migrant workers due to the lack of education access. And to respond the education rights for Indonesian citizens to be protected, so various parties, including the state actor and also non-state actor, form educational institutions in Malaysia to accommodate the education access for children of Indonesian migrant workers. So in Malaysia, I identify that there are several types of educational institutions in Malaysia. First is the Sekolah Indonesia Luar Negeri (SILN). There are one in Kuala Lumpur, Johor Bahru, as well as Kota Kinabalu. The second is Plantation-Owned Community Learning Center (CLC Ladang). The third is Non-Plantation Owned Community Learning Center or CLC Non Ladang. The fourth is Sanggar Bimbingan, and 5 others. So among these 5 types of education institutions, the Malaysian Ministry of Education has identified the 2 categories of education institutions, including CLC Ladang or Plantation Owned Community Learning Center. So the problem statement, the previous researchers, recent researchers have done researches about the educational institutions for the children of Indonesian migrant workers in Sabah, particularly the community learning centers. However, many researchers, until now, they are still framing that the CLC institutions are state-driven and top-down initiatives. We can see in the theoretical applications and contributions from the recent researchers, most of them use state-centric theories such as bilateral cooperation, foreign policy, soft power, diplomacy, national interest, multi-stakeholders. However, limited researchers view it through multi-centric and bottom-up initiative remains limited. So hence, my research focus on beyond the state-centric view. For the research questions, I have 3 research questions. The first is, what is the nature of community learning centers in Sabah? And then the sub-question 1 is, who are the actors involved in the CLCs in Sabah? The second, what are the behaviors of the actors involved in CLCs in Sabah? And the third is, what are the meanings attached to the actors involved in the CLCs in Sabah? My research strategy that I use in this research is an inductive research strategy. So as we know, that inductive research strategy is exploratory and discovery research rather than explanatory. So when the researcher go for the field research, we tend to be more trying to explore the phenomenon that occurs. In this case, is the community learning centers. And inductive research strategy often begins the research without any assumptions or any theorizations and speculations. And it relies highly on the objective of the research. So in this case, the researcher, which is me, I follow directly the objective of my research to do the research when I go for the field research. And fourthly, the end of inductive research strategy is a scientific laws or generalizations or theory that I established from the research, from the inductive research strategy. In this research, I use a semi-structured interview as a method of data collection. And in my studies also, the case study, I follow Blakey that case study is not a methodology or a method, but it is just a way for the researcher to become more objective in searching for data. In this case, that's why the data focusing only in the educational institutions. And I collect data 11 community learning centers at Tawau, and also 3 community learning centers in Kota Kinabalu. From the total of 14 CLCs, 11 CLCs are taken after granting permission from the Indonesian government. Meanwhile, the 3 CLCs are taken after granting permission from the non-governmental organizations. And this is my field research locations. Okay, now I'm moving on to my first research findings, which is focusing on the first research questions. So the first research questions focus on the nature of plantation-owned community learning centers. So based on what I understand about community learning centers, so recent research mentioned that the typology of community learning centers are separated into 2 typologies, which is the CLC Ladang and CLC non-Ladang. However, I find that there is a lack of academically explained and conceptual framework to identify and to explain about each of these typology. So in my research, I found that there are in the CLC ladang itself, there are actually two typologies that emerged from this research. So the first typology is the Guru Bina Initiative-based Community Learning Center, and the second typology is Indonesian Consulate-based Community Learning Center. So the table 4.1 here shows how my typologies are created from the data that I have taken from the respondents, from the interview sessions with them. So I found that from all the plantation-owned community learning centers that I studied, that I do my research, I found that these 5 plantation-owned community learning centers can be separated into 2 typologies based on how the educational institutions is being established. So the 2 typologies here shows the origin of the educational institutions, how they established. So which means the Guru Bina Initiative-based CLC shows that the educational institutions under some of the plantation estate actually initiated by the Guru Bina. Meanwhile, the Indonesian Consulate-based CLC is an example where the community living centers is established through the initiative of the Indonesian Consulate. So on the right side, we can see some of the statements from the respondent, each of the respondents. Okay. However, from the 2 typologies, what I found is that there is no significant relationship between the typology and host plantation estate because every typology here covers different type of host plantation estate, because the plantation estates that I studied actually are not the same category of plantation estate. For example, here I put here there are 4 plantation estates under the typology of Guru Bina. Actually, the plantation estate come from different type of company. There is, here we can see there is a private ownership, there is also Sabah state ownership, the state level government ownership, and also the federal government shareholders. So we can see here that somehow the typology is not connected with the plantation estate. And however, each educational institutions in plantation estate, they have, most of them have a similar natures with minor differences depending on the plantation estate owner's policy on the CLC, showing no clear standard of operation procedure SOPs of the CLC operations, meaning that from what I found, the plantation estate community learning centers are highly relying on the agreement and highly relying on the agreement and also the plantation manager itself, because every manager from the plantation estate might have different policies towards the community learning centers. So that's why we can see here, for example, from the emerging team 2, applying informal cooperation. Some plantation estates actually do not have informal cooperation. For example, you can see here the 2 plantation estates with the cross mark. The emerging team 2 applying informal cooperation actually means whether the educational institutions in the plantation estate allow outside children, meaning children from outside plantation estate, to study in the community learning center inside that plantation estate. So some plantation estate, they allow outsiders to study in their community learning centers, while other plantation estate, several, actually they don't allow outsiders to study in their community learning centers. Why? Because somehow it is also connected with the emerging theme 3, which is having protectionism policy. So we can see here that all plantation-owned community learning centers, the two typologies, they all have the protectionism policy. It does make sense because it is a plantation, it is a educational institutions inside the plantation estate. So every plantation estate, they are more into protectionism policy. So what are the sub-themes of having protectionism policy? So having protectionism policy means they are accepting donations, that is one, and also, no, I think having protectionism policy refers to accepting donations from outsiders. So we can see here that all plantation-owned community learning centers, the two typologies, they do not accept outsiders to visit and to give some donations, to give some support to the educational institutions under their own plantation estate. So why are these two themes, applying informal cooperation and having protectionism policy, are connected? It is because based on the findings from the respondents, the respondent, which is the plantation estate manager, mentioned that the assumption why some plantation estate do not allow outsiders to give donation to their community learning centers is because if the estate, the plantation estate, accept outsiders to give donation to support the plantation estate, then the plantation estate will feel that they have the responsibility to accept outsiders to study in their community learning centers, while these community learning centers is actually funded by their own plantation estate. So actually the fund is only for their own workers, not for the outsiders. So if, for example, there's a private plantation estate coming to this plantation estate and give donation, give financial support to this community center, then the host plantation estate will feel they have the responsibility also to allow these children under other plantation estate to study in these community learning centers. So the plantation estate, that's why they have more protectionism policy, because they don't want to have this kind of feeling. They don't want to have this kind of behavior to allow outsiders, because it will become more obligation and responsibility for the plantation estate. So they don't want to go further into that. So which is why we can see in the emerging theme 3 actually exists in all plantation estates. Although some plantation estate, as I mentioned, because of the kindness, because of the humanitarian value from the manager, somehow several plantation estate, they allow informal cooperation, which means outsiders to visit and to outsiders to study in their plantation estate. Meanwhile, this table 4.3 includes the emerging themes for the next for the other typology, which is the CLC non-ladang, or the non-plantation owned community learning centers. So by adding the other typology, the non-plantation owned community learning centers, I found that 3 typologies emerged from the existing typology, the CLC non-ladang, meaning that the existing typology of CLC, which is the CLC non-ladang, actually can be separated into another 3 typologies, which is perantau-based CLC, local-based CLC, and also NGO-based CLC. And here we can see from the emerging themes, the most informal typologies differ with less informal typology, showing more SOPs of CLC operation for the less informal typology of CLC. Meaning, we can see here that the perantau-based CLC and local-based CLC, they have the less SOPs. They have the less standards. Because why? Because they have this name emerging theme 6, which is having self-educational initiative. We can see here that both perantau-based CLC and local-based CLC have this having self-educational initiative, meaning that this typology shows that the educational institutions is actually established by the initiative of themselves. Here, one is the type of CLC which is established by the perantau. Another type of CLC is initiated and established by the local individual in the Sabah. So these 2 typologies, they have the less standards, less SOPs. For example, here we can see the emerging theme 3, perantau and also local-based CLCs, they do not have such protectionism policy. Why? Because since they are committing themselves in initiating and establishing and also operating these educational institutions without any support from company or the NGO, so they are becoming more open towards outsiders to come for them, because outsiders become the source of income for them in order to continue their operations. So the more students they have, the more income that they will earn, and by that they can continue their school operation, their educational institution operation. Well, we can see here at the NGO-based CLC, we can see that actually the NGO-based CLC is quite similar with the Guru Bina and also Indonesian Consular-based CLC under the plantation estate, because these educational institutions under NGO is also similar as the other plantation estate educational institutions. For example, they have this having protectionism policy team. Why? Because from the interview sessions with the respondents, so all educational institutions that are under the NGO are actually controlled by the NGO when the outsiders come. For example, when there is a company or estate wants to do CSR in the NGO, wants to do program, or they want to donate something towards the community learning centers. So the community learning centers must go first to the NGO management, so that all the funds, all the donations does not go directly to the educational institutions of the NGO, but it goes directly first to the NGO, the management team of the NGO, and after that, the management of NGO will be the one who will distribute the donation or the funds or the material that they receive from the the giving company or the one who does the program. And also we can see at the emerging team 7, institutional resource dependency. Actually, this theme refers to the dependency of the education institution towards the institution. So as we can see, all the educational institutions are having this emerging team 7, except the perantau and local based CLC, because these two typologies are more independent compared to the other educational institutions, in which each of these educational institutions, they have their host institution. So there is the NGO, there is also the plantation estate, which means they are highly dependent on this institution in terms of fundings, in terms of materials, and so on. I think this one I have explained in the presentation. This is some of the one that I explained previously. We can see on the right side is the description, the statement from the respondents about each of the team. So we can see in terms of applying informal cooperation. So this cluster, this team come from these two codes.
Seems a bit delay between that one and the WebEx.
Oh yeah.
It's okay, but now it's appeared.
Okay. Okay, and then for the research questions too, it's still not completed yet. So what are the behaviors of the actors involved in the CLC in Sabah? In this research questions, Prof, I'm not sure how to connect with the first research question, which is the nature of the community learning centers. How to connect this nature and also is it that I can just suddenly jump from nature and then directly go to the focus on the behavior of actors, or how to connect these two research questions? I'm not sure. But so far, what I have done in this thesis, I categorize the key actors into the CLC typology. So for example, you can see here the first two typologies of CLC, they have several key actors that are important in establishing and operating the education institutions. So they have different key actors for every typology. For the guru bina and the perantau-based CLC, the local-based CLC, NGO-based CLC, each of them have their own different key actors. I mean, who are the key actors, the main actors who does contribute the most towards establishing, initiating, and also operating these education institutions. So most of them I've done finding the main theme for each of the actors. For example, like Guru Bina, I found that Guru Bina is it's not connection, it's the connector and divergence. Why? Because here I put some of the sub themes or the codes. Some of them are negotiating with parents and plantation managers. So Guru Bina is the first person who firstly negotiate with the plantation estate managers in order to have a deal with the plantation estate to establish the education institutions. And Guru Bina is also the one who promotes the Indonesian government program. So actually, community learning centers is a program after the bilateral agreement between the Malaysian government and the Indonesian government. So, however, the program does not directly implemented in every plantation estate, but it must go through someone who will come to the plantation estate and then to explain what is the program is all about. So Guru Bina is the one who played that role.
And Guru Bina from Indonesia.
Guru Bina from Indonesia. So it's like the Guru Bina is like the hand of Indonesian consulate in Sabah. They're the one who does go to the field and negotiate with the plantation estate. It's not the consulate who does the job, but it's the Guru Bina. So Guru Bina actually, they have many like in Indonesia it's like angkatan. So angkatan. So Guru
Batch.
Yeah, the batch. I mean the batch. So actually, Guru Bina has exists in Sabah since even prior to the existence of
The
CLC in Sabah. So before the existence of this model, the CLC model, we know the other NGO has done, such as the Humana. They did the Humana school in Bangladesh. So actually, in these Humana institutions, the Indonesian government already sent Guru Bina to become the teachers in the Humana institutions to teach, especially the children of Indonesian migrant workers. Yeah. So these teachers, the early batch of the Guru Bina, is the one who does the negotiate process with the plantation estate managers. So some term is like some term the reference like Guru Senior, right? Or I can say Guru Senior is the one who do the negotiation and everything.
Bina in the context of Indonesia also means advisor, right? No?
Yes, advisor. That's true. Yeah. So, like in this case, Guru Bina, actually, the one who does the teaching the most is the Guru Pamong. Guru Bina is the one who handle the administrative and also the advisor for the Guru Pamong and the model for the Guru Pamong. Because sometimes Guru Bina does not only teach in one school, they also manage several CLCs in the plantation estate. So they're not just teaching, but they also manage operating the CLCs. Some maybe they handle a few CLCs. And we can see here, for example, another key actors that I managed to complete is a plantation estate manager. I found that they are, I mentioned as passive support. So passive support means they support the program from the Guru Bina to initiate and establish the education institution. However, they also do not maximize everything. They do not maximize their resources, financial resources, facilities for the education institution, because as we know that plantation estate manager focus mainly on the income for the plantation estate, not for the education institutions. So which is why I put it as a passive support. And then for the next typology, like the Perantau based CLC, the key finding for Perantau is actually Perantau is a resilient actor. So we can see here some of the quotes that I quote: dedicating beyond work, having no legal protection, having resource and financial limitations. So despite they have many limitations, they have other jobs that they have to do. They have their own job as a worker, as a farmer. They still pursue themselves, initiate themselves, they still dedicate themselves to do something beyond their main work as a farmer, as a worker in plantation estate. And also, the Prantau also know that they have no legal protection. I mean, because their main job here in plantation estate is to become a farmer, to become a worker. But despite they know that they have no such legal protection to establish education institutions, they still resilient. They are still dedicate themselves to establish, to initiate these education institutions. And even though with lack of resources and financial limitations, they are still also able to establish and operate the education institution up to this day. Yeah. Meanwhile, for another typology such as local-based CLC, I found that the local individual, they are actually have some kind of institutional continuity and adaptation. So actually all the CLCs, all the educational institutions, when they establish the educational institutions, it's not that they directly become CLC model. So firstly, some of them they start as a tuition class tuition. Some of them they start as a sekolah minggu. Sekolah minggu, Sunday school refers to those who initiate the institution in the church. So they start with sekolah minggu, sekolah minggu, that's true. Some of them, the local individual, they start kelas mengaji. So all these education institutions started from this small initiative, such as what I found in local individual, the one that I interviewed. They actually started from the kelas mengaji, but eventually this kelas mengaji turns into community learning centers in this day. So that's why I call it the institutional community adaptation. But how come from the kelas mengaji can turn into CLC? So that's why I put here there's replicating existing education model, and also having social networks is also important in turning their kelas mengaji into community learning centers, because without having social networks, because based on my interview with them, I found that actually the networks that they have is the one who help them to transform from the small class such as kelas mengaji into community learning centers by having the network, so they have help each other, and finally they establish into a CLC. And then for the typology NGO-based CLC, the key actor for this typology is the founder of the NGO itself. Yeah, so the key findings from this actor is using connection for supporting educational institutions, because mostly when a person establishes non-governmental organizations, NGO, normally this individual is not an ordinary individual. Usually this founder of the NGO is the one who has many connections, who has capacity, whether it is a capacity in terms of material or a capacity in terms of knowledge, experience, something like that. So these are the kind of founder. So because this founder has many connections and they have the capacity, that's why I put here some of the quotes, such as is a pivotal role in driving the initiative and also obtaining and distributing the receiving funds and donations. So because what I found in the interview sessions with the respondents, I found that the founders of this NGO they're very important in the establishment of the education institutions. So, for example, the company asked this founder to help the company in establishing the community learning centers. So this founder has the capacity, knowing how to establish, how to operate, how to start the education institutions. While there is another type of founder that has the capacity of material, he has lands, he has building. So this founder used his capability, having this material such as land and building, to allow others to use his land or his building as the place for the education institutions, so that the education institution can be operated until now by using this NGO founders material, the building, the land. So these are some of the findings for my second research second research purpose. While some of the other actors I'm still in progress. Actually, it's not about in progress, because also this is I think my habit, my bad habit. So I have written everything in my thesis, but so what I do first is write the thesis. So after writing, then I start to do the slides. So what happened is that I find it quite hard for me to make the slides, although I have written the thesis. So I mean, writing and making slides is something that's different, bro. So I've done the writing, but then when I want to picturize, when I want to visualize the writings into slides, is something that that is not easy, and I need time to picturize everything, to visualize everything into slides. So that's why I'm still need some more time to put the other key actors, and also I need more clarification of what I'm doing. My first research question and also the second research question, and also how to and how to connect and how to connect the nature and then suddenly to the behavior of the actors. Do I have to connect it, or I just jump from one to another questions? Or so I think that's all for my presentation, my findings presentation today. Thank you.
All right, thank you. It's a long one, right? It's a long one, but it's good. But because you are because you want to go deep into the findings, so that we can discuss the findings. And actually, what we have here is like a PhD work, more than masters already. But itulah saya ambil because ESM is not so smart in taking people in to do fast track masters, a PhD, right? They require certain CGPA and all that. That's not too smart, right? And I think this is a PhD work more than the masters. Definitely you went beyond masters already. Okay. Yeah, it is good that you come back to the title. I'm connecting the title to your research questions, to your findings.
Yeah, but I'm still okay for any changes, bro.
Okay, so as much as possible, I want you to use the title that you like, or the key ideas that you want to promote. I know that you like to use the word multi-centric model. So this is I think it's reflecting that, right? It's reflecting that. So we just want to be sure and more importantly to be safe that the title doesn't trap you in the Bible. That's it. You know what I'm saying? So they say, suppose they say, well, so it's a multi-centered model, but then your research is about something else. You know, we do not want to get into that kind of trap, basically. But it looks like it's aligned because it does appear that you have more than two models, two typologies of CLCs, right? Five or six. So that's good that you begin with that. I just want to go in based on the notes I made, right? Rajih is saying that basically ChatGPT can do it from close with proper and more detailed form, right? Yeah. Rajih, okay. We'll do a lecture on visualizing data into PowerPoint. Okay, so let's move to the certain points I have noted here. Okay, so you have the literature review. This, and I'm giving the feedback also while bearing in mind you have a presentation during the Viva as well.
Yeah.
So the literature review, can we go through literature review now? So okay, we go. There's a history of workforce, yeah. Then go down further. All right. Further social problems. Okay. Go down further. All right. So in the literature review, you have the historical background. You have the kind of like a issue mapping, right? Then. We do want to highlight the point about previous research on CLCs, right? They might be looking for that one because that will point towards the vacuum, the theoretical, conceptual, research vacuum or research gap. You know, the bigger picture there. Right? So this is true for all of you, right? Yan Ling, you haven't made your presentation yet, so remember your literature review will want to not just highlight the current history, background, context, but also the research gap, what the previous research studies have been conducted on what you have studied and what theory or concept that has not been explained yet, right? Which is what I have given I have commented to you Yan last time, right? So that's the part that we want to include. I'm not sure you have it on the research gap, but you have the problem statement, right? This one right here. So this is a theoretical vacuum. You have this one, explaining the phenomena of existence of vast community living centers, all right. So we want to highlight the word theoretical vacuum there. Highlight it / research gap as well, right? Research gap, theoretical vacuum in the presentation so that it becomes clear that, right? So these are basically the previous research. So the theoretical vacuum is explaining the type of CLCs, right? They are recognized by state, but many researchers state-driven, top-down, right? So the point that you want to highlight is about the while many researchers frame CLC as a state-driven and top-down initiative, limited researchers viewing it multi-centric and multi-arm initiative. So this is actually the main part that you have discovered as the research gap for theoretical backing, right? So you just bold it or something, right? So it becomes clear that this is the direction you're doing.
Okay.
Huh?
If I explain all this, I think it will take too much time.
I don't think you take a bit more time. Also.
Yeah.
Okay, at the time, this is the next point. Also in 10:39, 10:52.
Yeah.
You get to the problem statement at 10:49.
Yeah,
Which
already
is
10
about
minutes.
10 minutes or
10 minutes.
10 minutes into it. So you want to keep the intro and background to just 1 or 2 slides. But no, it's fine because you're explaining your research findings to me,
Everything.
You're just presenting the whole thing to me, it's fine. But eventually, but there will be another session where there's a Viva session, there's a Viva session. But here, I'm just highlighting the point about having the research vacuum, or the research gap theoretical vacuum clearly stated. But I think in your mind you're very clear because all this while the analysis has been very state-centric.
Yeah.
So you want to look at the other models.
Yeah. So this part you will explain the previous study and the gas.
This is also latest review actually.
How about the time? How to control the time? The time is very limited.
Yeah.
So it will explain more here.
We reduce the work.
So you're going to reduce. So remember,
Reduce the slides.
The Viva you're given about 15 to 20 minutes, maybe 10 to 15. Remember, I talked about Viva presentation before, right? So we need to be very clear about how we present this, right? We have about 10 to 15 or 10 to 20 minutes. So the number of slides should have that. But this is an important slide, you cannot omit.
Okay.
This is important. The research gap, theoretical vacuum, because that is the main justification of doing your research. And you want to reconnect with the research gap or theoretical vacuum, right? And that will lead to your theoretical contribution, lead to the novelty of your research. So and the research questions as well. So that's the part there, Hanif, and let me see also. Okay, let's move to the next one. So you have a research question. What is the nature of community learning centers in Sabah? Who are the actors involved in Sabah? What are the behaviors of the actors involved in CLCs? What are the meanings attached to the actors involved in? Okay. So these questions might not be to the examiners or whoever. It might not be obvious that it's leading towards the multi-centric model, right? But in your presentation, you can make it clear, right? By finding out about the nature of community learning service, you will know about the origin of it, how the dynamics of the running, the operations, the setting up, right? That will be the nature, right, of the community learning, right? Or if you can, who are the actors involved in CLC? Okay, so
I don't like what are the,
what are the,
and
you can put the question of state or non-state there. Besides the states, who else are involved? Besides the state actors, which other actors are involved? You can put it in the bracket or something like that. Who are the actors? State and non-state actors. How about that? Then A, right? 1A.
yeah.
Who are the state and non-state actors involved in CLCs. You capture that one, right? So that would get in straight away about the theoretical gap, the state-centric nature of previous studies, right? So previous studies talk about human rights, talk about the laws and all that, right? But no. So what are the behaviors of the actors involved? Okay. We use the word behaviors, right? Is there another word that would help? Would be more directed to your research. So behaviors might imply something else, or behavior can be Morocco. Smoking is a behavior, right?
Yeah.
But we're talking about
the behavior.
yeah.
We refer.
What we can use the word contribution, but contribution here is too specific, right?
Oh, yeah.
What are the what you can think about? Explore different words. So behaviors, actions. What are the actions of what are the actions of the actors vis-a-vis the CLCs or something like that? What
Response? No. Response.
No, response. I mean, we want to capture their behavior, right?
Yeah.
The actions. So you can use this word for until you find a better word. But behavior is a big word. I mean, it captures
too many things.
Too many things.
I'm confused.
So I mean, like I said, smoking is a behavior, sleeping is a behavior, right?
I'm not sure.
You are not interested in those behaviors, right? You're interested in the behaviors related to CLCs, right? What are the behaviors related to CLCs? Something like that, something like that. So, you're not interested in the what is it? The purchasing behaviors or religious behaviors. The whole range of behaviors. Family behaviors, dating behaviors, all that. Too many behaviors.
Oh, that means we need to make it more.
Maybe
specific.
more focused, yeah.
More focused.
Yeah. What are the behaviors of actors vis-a-vis in relation to CLCs in Sabah, something like that? Yeah. What are the behaviors related to CLCs? What are the behaviors of these actors vis-a-vis CLCs or something like that? Right? So you want to capture only behaviors related to CLCs, right? What are the CLCs related behaviors of these actors or something like that? Actions or behavior. You can use actions. Action is slightly more. Behavior is everything, right? Whereas, I think research questions do not represent the idea of multisensory. Joanne is going deductive now. So Joanne saying that, okay. I think the research questions do not represent the idea of multicentric model because it is more focused on actors from at 2 to 3 there. Yeah. So Joanne is saying that, but the thing is, Hanif is developing the findings inductively, not deductively. So through inductive research, there's a discovery of a multicentric model of CLCs. But let me go through first, and then we will go back to the idea of multicentric there. What are the meanings attached to the okay. To the point that is Joanne's point, right? So this one, because you're talking about multicentric model of CLC. So maybe
No, actually,
organization.
yeah, I mean that name, like multi-centric model, maybe is the contribution of the research, so it becomes multi-centric. So I'm not testing this model,
Yeah,
but the
yeah.
model is actually the results from this research.
That's right, yeah.
It can be changed later after I
Okay,
fully complete my writing all the findings. Maybe I found a better name. I'm not
Yeah.
sure.
I mean, there are different ways to phrase it.
Yeah.
Uncovering, discovering.
Okay.
You just put a word like that, discovering, uncovering,
Wow.
right? At the top there,
Mm.
right? Uncovering the multicentric model or something like that. That's it. Maybe the point here is also about organizational level analysis, right? So this is like you're analyzing the actors, not the organization, or something like that. So, who are the actors involved? So you can also talk about who are the state and non-state actors involved in setting up and running the CLCs or something like that, right? To make it obvious. But I personally think you do not need to make it obvious because you are doing inductive research, right? So inductive research, you can open up the space for a lot of findings, right? But you can make the argument that for examiners who are very deductive in their thinking, they sometimes have a paradigm. What's the word? They work in a paradigm prison. To the point that I agree, better word. So they cannot understand the other thing unless it's phrased that way. So you can put what is it? Who are the state and non-state actors involved in CLCs in Sabah, especially in you can put the word especially in the setting up and the running of the CLCs, right? So now. See, I understand because I'm basically organizational sociology, so you want to look at organization as an entity, but you are doing the CLCs is a unique entity by itself because there's top down, there's bottom up, right? As you want to. Let me run through everything else first, then we'll go back to the discussion. Now, you did say under research subject or something, research. After this one, we'll come back to that discussion about the research strategy. Okay, about research strategy, go back to research strategy or research subject, where you actually say, you said that, right? That is exploratory and discovery research. Now, another important note to make, you can undersell so that you can over-deliver. What do I mean? Yes, inductive research is about exploratory and discovery. That said, it doesn't limit the findings to formulate an explanatory model. Like grounded theory can be done inductively, and grounded theory develops a model of explanation. Right? That's what grounded theory is, to answer the why question mainly. So why do people smoke, something like that. A little bit confused because of findings for actors. Okay, alright. Okay, good. Afterwards, you're coming. Good point, those important points. Right. So you want to under-promise, but you can over-deliver. So you under-promise. So inductive research strategy, tend to be exploratory and discovery oriented. That said, it can lead to something that's explanatory as well. So when you explain this part, you make that sales pitch, right? Well, this car it's a normal car. It's made in a developing country, and however, you push the acceleration, it can overtake a Lamborghini or something like that. So you under promise, but then at the end you over deliver, right? So it's very good sales strategy. It's like the car will be ready on Friday, right? And then you get the car ready by Monday. So the customer is happy. So under promise, over deliver. Right? So this is a thesis strategy. Okay, so and that's the point about the exploratory research which you did mention as well. Okay, the other one I make a note here. I think move to the next slide. Move to the next slide, not this one. This one where you talk about 11 CLCs and plus 3 CLCs or something.
Oh,
where is that? Yeah. Okay, all right. So here as well, the research subject and method, right? The point here, now we go back to what Joanne is talking about, motivation-centric model and all that, the organizational analysis, right? The issue about what is called unit of analysis. What is your unit of analysis, right? So in case people were to ask you the question, examiner were to ask you the question, right, you will need to answer, right? So your unit analysis is what right now? CLCs, right?
yeah.
CLCs. So you're analyzing the CLCs, right? Okay. But your sample also includes the respondents.
Yeah, but
In the
samples
CLCs.
are respondents in
the CLCs, okay. So you want to know in there how many respondents you take right? For each
every
CLC.
CLC.
Yeah, you can make that list, or in your research methodology or in your sampling, you want to note that, right? So sampling needs to be clear here. This is basic sampling. Right? So this is the important part where you answer about the model afterwards, right? So you're looking at the unit of analysis are the CLCs, but how do you obtain your data? You obtain the data through the respondents mainly. Am I right?
Correct.
Right, okay. You are not assessing the documents.
No.
All right, you're not looking at the website. All right, you're getting through the respondents mainly, right? Okay. So this is the part that you want to be able to explain, right?
We need to put all the samples to methodology class.
This is under methodology, of course. It's under sampling is under methodology.
Need to show in the slide.
You could do that. You could say the 11 NGO SLC 1, there's 2, the other SLC is 3.
Yes,
You can say that.
I have that one in my thesis, but I don't
Put that in. Okay, yeah, you can put that in. Or put it under thank you, after thank you, right? And remember that is always the strategy. You can always put under thank you if they want to ask, and then you can put it in, right? The other part, which I noted down here as well, but another part in my notes, you put in the names of the CLCs. I'm not sure. You should maintain the,
This one.
anonymous, I think you should keep it anonymous.
Oh yeah, I should not put the name. Yeah,
You should not.
yeah.
Now that said, there are situations also that
It's okay.
what is this? This is not.
No.
It's not coming from Rajih, right? Okay. There are also views that if they say you can go ahead and share, right? You can share, but it's better to take the stand of keeping the organization anonymous, right? Because we are going into the battle. We have examiners who have different thinking and all that, so we just go with the safe mode, right? Whichever that is acceptable to all examiners, right? So
Yeah, when I do the slide, I also was thinking, should I put the name of the?
no, you should not put.
I was planning not to put, but because this is finance presentation, so I put everything.
Yeah.
Just to get the opinion whether
Sure.
should I put or not.
Sure. That's why I'm having a longer discussion with you there. Just,
Eventually I just put it.
yeah, it's okay. This is fine. This is
Yeah.
fine. But for the presentation, which comes much later, not now, right? Significant. Where is it? You also use the term, not here maybe, but when you explain, use the word significant relationship. Oh, there's a quantitative term there, right? Right, it's because you did not do any correlational studies here, right? So you said you can use the word connection.
Connection, bro.
Connection is safe, right? Significant relationship is not just empirical, it's a ratio thing. It's empirical, remember there's nominal, interval, ratio and all that, right? So it's a significant relationship, that's a correlation. So data is not that. It's okay. Then. Okay, let me see something here that I'm a bit confused. The typology of plantation on CLC. The one that you showed me just now. Okay, typology of plantation on CLCs, right? So under this typology, there's two types of. You see the heading there?
Yeah, two typologies.
Two typologies.
And one is
So, Indonesian concept-based CLCs, they are also plantation.
Yeah, these are all from the plantation estate CLCs.
Okay, these are estate CLCs.
Yeah, only estate CLCs.
Okay. Alright. How about? Okay, so in your explanation later, you say you discovered another three typologies, right?
From
this one,
yeah, but that one is the non-plantation estate.
Non-plantation.
Yeah.
So
additional three.
Yes, additional three typologies, right? How about this one? They have not. How about not using the word typology of plantation ownership? They just put typology of CLC.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, bro.
Because afterwards, down there, you will have that one, right?
Yeah,
so it's just typology of CLCs.
Yeah.
So we have Guru Bina initiative-based CLC. So you want to rephrase that one to something else? I'm not sure. Guru Bina initiative-based CLC. That one is still plantation CLC, right?
Yes.
But initiated by Guru Bina.
Yeah.
But we did say just now that this Guru Bina are actually sent by the consulate also.
Yes.
So what's the difference between that one, the top and down there? The Guru Bina initiative based CLC, Indonesian consulate based CLC.
Oh, the down one, the bottom one, the Indonesian consulate based CLC means the one who approached the company is not the Guru Bina, but from the consulate itself.
Okay.
So for the Guru Bina initiative means it is the Guru Bina himself the one who approached the company.
Okay.
And the initiative from Guru Bina to approach the company is not asked by the consulate. Sometimes they're doing by himself. The Guru Bina knows that there is a need of the institution, the education institution in this plantation estate. So that's why he approached the company, not because of the Indonesian consulate asked him
to do.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
But it's his own initiative, his own concern about the education.
And that's good. That's good. And that's why there's a distinction between emerging team there, right?
Yeah.
Informal cooperation and you put what Guru Bina initiative based CLC put a cross there, which means
there's a different factor, Prof. I mentioned also the plantation estate manager also plays the role in operating the CLC.
Okay.
So although the Guru Bina is the one who initiate, but because when we want to establish the CLC in the plantation estate, then we also need to deal with the manager.
Of course, yes.
And different manager, different policies.
Different policy, okay.
Yeah. So that's why here some companies they do not want any informal cooperation. That's why I put cross.
Okay, they do not want to have.
Yeah.
Okay. Whereas with Indonesian consulate, they would want to have informal.
Yes, but actually it depends more on the manager,
Depends more on the manager.
not from the initiator.
Okay,
But the one who owns
But it's
the
an
company.
outcome of this initiative is
Yes.
formal. This outcome is formal, right? Okay, but you will explain that in the text, rather, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So typology of plantation is the typology of plantation owned CLCs, right?
Mhm.
But you can put there underneath both of these, both of these can put as plantation owned CLCs, also plantation owned CLCs. Both are, but one is Indonesian consulate based CLC. The other one is Guru Bina initiative based CLC.
Oh, at plantation owned CLC.
I can put here plantation
Oh,
owned,
okay.
plantation owned, right? Something like that.
Ah.
Right? So you still know that you have plantation owned, right? Okay, let's continue on. You actually the other one typology. The other thing that I see is the same. Okay. All right. The other word that you use is protectionism policy. So protectionism policy, I'm not sure whether it is widely used in companies or in Sabah. Maybe it does. I'm not sure. But what closed door, open door, and something like that.
Oh.
Protectionism is usually associated with countries, right?
Yeah.
Protectionism, yeah. So
Close the open door.
closed door, open door, and some other word. I'm not sure, but maybe they actually use that term. I don't know. So if they use that term, go ahead. If they don't use that term, then as far as I'm familiar with, protectionism is more towards the country than the company. Yeah, and
International relations term, bro, to use.
yeah, it's international relations use that word. So yeah, you're right. So in fact, the fact that they have foreign workers shows that they're not protectionists. They tend to be more open, but in this aspect they are closed, right? So they're closed. So think of the words. This has to do with the words more than anything else. But then protectionism is a terminology by itself, right? So when we talk about that one, relook at the. So I put a note there to always think about the multi-centric model construct your building. So it's okay. If you want to, I'm thinking of to help you to be able to use the multi-centric model, right? So the word center needs to be introduced and woven, inserted into the narrative of your discussion to highlight that there are more than one sentence. See what I mean? So maybe the key players? Yeah, the key players. No, down there afterwards, right? Key player or something. Key actors. And then word emerge as the centers, right? So we have the key players here could be local individual, the founder. They are different center, different actors, right? Different actors. And they represent not the state, right? So in your text, in your analysis, you want to insert the word center. You know, is what is it? NGO centric. The nature of the CLC is NGO centric. The nature of the CLC is perantau centric or something like that. Which places the weightage, the emphasis on the perantau. So the center can function or might just collapse if there is no perantau, you know, something like that.
And then maybe like this one, for example, base can change to centric.
It depends on the what your findings are, right? Here and how you explain the idea of centrism in your analysis, right? Okay, let's table one suppose. In your, I think this one, yeah. See under Guru Bina there, Hanif. Guru Bina CLC, right? To the right of that, you have Sabah State Ownership. Sabah State Ownership appearing twice. Right?
Yeah.
Why is that? Is that?
Oh no, I mean the company. Yeah, it's so some company is a private company, is a Sabah State company, federal government.
Okay, so these are actually specific companies here you're referring to?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. So, and these are actually one particular case, right? There's one particular case, right?
Yeah.
One particular CLC.
One CLC, one CLC. Yes.
Right. Okay. So, then you actually lay out about three. There's 8 CLCs here then. Am I right?
No. For example, like the Perantau based CLC, actually there are more than one. There are few more.
So if you're doing this, it looks like you're grouping them here. So from here it looks like you're grouping the CLCs, right?
Yeah.
But actually there's 2 CLCs. So if I'm without reading the text, without your presentation, I would not know that this is a separate CLC.
Oh.
So one way is actually to add in the other CLCs here.
That means I need to put all the CLCs in
That's
this
another
table.
way, unless you group them together.
Okay.
Unless you put them into a collective.
I cannot, because that's why, for example,
There's a difference,
it's different, so I cannot combine them into.
So I would recommend you list them all 14.
Or put all the CLCs.
Yeah, you have 14, right?
Yes.
So if you want to do this, right? So because there's a but it seems like this is federal somewhere. Yeah, there's a difference there. Right? So for Sabah state ownership companies, contingent, right? With Guru Bina based, Guru Bina initiative, right? So there's a mixed findings vis-a-vis applying informal cooperation, right? So some managers respond differently, some managers.
Yes.
So make a list there, make a complete all 14 there, right? Because otherwise I think that you're doing a collective analysis. Okay, you have made some whole range of empirical contribution, Hanif, right? So, or discoveries, right? You have a lot of findings. So, you will want to eventually capture them, group them, right? I don't know, key finding 1, key finding 2, key finding 3.
That's the.
Right, so you want to be able to do that, right? So
that means I don't have to present all of this, bro. Just take the key findings 1, key findings 2.
yeah, I don't think you should do that. Now we are talking about Viva stage now,
Yeah.
right? If you're talking about presenting, you're talking about Viva stage. The Viva stage, you might not be able to talk about all your all your findings. You just want to highlight 7 key findings, or 3 key findings, or 4 or 5 key findings, and want to say that. And the important part is to show there's a multi-centric model of CLCs. So if that's what you want to show, right?
Yeah.
And this is an important contribution to understanding CLCs in Sabah, because if the discussion is only state-centric, then the analysis, the theories will only orient towards state-centric analysis. So that's the discussion part later on. Right? So the key findings discussion, the implication of the key findings. Let me see. You did ask me just now about something about you're not sure about the connection between the ask me again. I'm not sure about your question there.
The first question is about the nature, bro.
Okay.
And second question is about the actors. So how I should connect them.
Okay. Well, let me look at the question again. Let's see how we can. The question is the key. Yeah. All right.
How to connect.
All right. Who are the actors? Who are the state and non-state actors involved in the CLCs in Sabah, especially in the formation, and you want to include the word in, especially, or including in the formation and the running of the CLCs. I can say that. And what are the behaviors? What are the actions? Of actors that are relevant to CLCs? How about that? What are the actions of actors that are relevant to CLCs? Okay. Then you had the question. You're asking me what is the connection between 2 and 1?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, just put that point there. What is the connection between their actions and the nature of community learning centers? You can put a sub question there.
Huh?
What are the connection between the actions of the actors and the nature of community learning centers, right? You put this up there, yeah, you put this up there. And you actually have answered the question too, because you're saying that you have the actors that's coming from the consulate, the nature of CLC is different. It's coming from the Guru Bina, the teacher center, the nature of CLC is different. Coming from the Prantau, the nature of CLC is different. Right? Or same, or same like this, or it's different this way, or similar this way. Yeah? Okay, just put the question down there. Okay, here is the interesting question, but I want to see your findings first. This one.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can actually have 2 questions. It's enough for a PhD, but or you can put the third question just now. You said that the sub question as a third question is fine too.
Oh.
Or you want to make it clear, just put the sub question in it. It's fine. Right? It's the actions that create the nature of the CLC.
Yeah.
Am I right? It's the actors. The actors' action create a different loci, a different center of CLC. So hence multi-centric model of CLC.
Yeah.
Right? Their actions, right, create the structures and culture. You can elaborate more there. So you can bring Anthony Giddens, structuration theory, and all that. Right? The duality of structure. That we can discuss that later on. The duality of structure. There's the agent, there's the structure involved. So, and that's true for a lot of organizations, except for the formal organization that has been institutionalized by the government mainly, right? That's why Wenger talks about charismatic leadership, charismatic organization, bureaucracy. Bureaucracy seldom dies. NGO can die. NGO is created by individual and run by individual.
Yeah.
Right? As we know, we have a friend. Right?
Yeah.
But bureaucracy is hard to die because it's formalized.
Yeah.
Right? And so, this paper, and it's not just hard to die, they don't want to die.
Yeah.
They can perpetuate itself, they create reason to continue to exist. Bureaucracy. Government, I'm not referring to that. Even large corporations, but then every now and then somebody will come with a chainsaw, Elon Musk, and things like that. So you have that one. But the third one, I will see your findings and then I can comment on that one then. Right? Okay, let's see what, let's see. You have anything else before we could open back the floor to the discussion? Yeah. I'm looking at what you have is you have really good findings here. So it's, especially the idea of the perantaus coming in. But it's not just perantau, the guru bina plays a big role too, right? The other one I have is about the local NGO, if I'm right, but you have kind of explained. The local NGO are run by local Malaysians, right? Mainly, but not necessarily. Oh, okay, yeah, local NGOs are not. How do you define? You got to define.
Local is different, NGO is different. There's a different typologies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, right. You have local NGO based, and that's the question I have. So the local are individuals, right?
Yeah, local individuals.
So you want to use the word local individual based.
Oh, okay.
Local individual based, right? NGO are NGO based. So NGOs, these are mainly Malaysian NGOs, right?
Malaysian
NGO. So that's another one to want to highlight. Malaysian NGOs, right?
Oh, maybe, Malaysian NGO.
But understand that there are also Malaysian NGOs, which is an extension of international NGOs, so you can, maybe not.
They are registering under the EROSs also.
Okay, so example is faith-based organization, right?
Yeah.
If it's faith-based organization, meaning religious church, or masjid or something.
At first, I want to put faith-based is another typology, but then when I look back at although it's established in the faith-based organization, church, for example, but the one who initiate, the one who approach the faith-based organization is the perantau. The perantau is one of the members of the faith-based organization.
Yes. So, but the perantau is actually part of the NGO also, right?
Part of the faith-based
organization. Oh, okay.
So, the perantau communities is Catholics.
Catholic,
They are from the Timor Flores. So, not only working, they also here active joining the faith-based organization,
yes.
become the church community. So this perantau is the one who approach the organization to start sekolah minggu, and then after that they become CRC.
And they operate under the NGO.
Under the faith-based.
Under faith.
Yeah. NGO is different, faith-based is different.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you classify that under perantau based, lah?
Yeah, because I thought, because the one who approach is the perantau, but I'm not sure if it should be a faith-based CRC.
It depends on the what name they
It's a church name.
church name.
Yeah, Holy Trinity.
Holy Trinity. Okay. So this is the interesting part where and this is very much what Gideon is talking about, the duality structure, agent and structure there, where in this case, so now, how many perantau-based CRCs are there? That you research on?
Three.
Three.
Yeah.
All of faith-based.
One is the faith-based. Two is the real perantau-based.
Okay. Then you create another category,
Faith-based.
perantau / faith-based organization, CRC. So not just perantau, there's also faith-based organizations, right?
Yeah.
And then the other one is perantau. So you actually have like 4, 5, 6 typology there. Because faith-based organization is rather strong.
Yeah.
Because they have resources and all that too. And if it's Catholic organization, the Catholic is one of the richest organizations in the world, by the way.
Yeah.
So, in Philippines, they establish universities.
Yeah.
Right, and they are like Muhammadiyah. In the Philippines, they are like Muhammadiyah. So very strong. In Indonesia, they're strong too, especially United Church, especially in Sumatra area. But then in Malang also they have. Malang they have like their pesantren, what they call it, seminary. Yeah, something like that, right? And in Penang as well. In Penang.
Penang a lot probably.
Penang, especially for the Bataks and all that, right? So, which is understudied, I think. So faith-based is one area that is understudied, I think. Even in the perantau discourse, perantau literature. So that is not a strong. Maybe I'm wrong, but I haven't. But perantau tends to be cultural in its analysis, and it's not organizational enough. But perantau has formed a lot of organization too. Yeah, of course. Yeah, we have like how many? More than dozens of paguyuban and NGOs in Penang, right? Some are registered, most are not registered. Majority are not registered. Not that they're illegal, but that's how the nature, how it works. Okay, what else you want to discuss before we have an open discussion too? Maybe from you all, have anything? Ming, Jim, you are, you're NGO community.
About his slides and whatever, I found that you didn't put the contribution, limitation. You didn't remember that?
No, this is only research question 1 and 2, right?
Yeah.
So
I need another one.
So I mean, should we put the part?
Oh yeah, we should put the theoretical contribution.
Yeah.
It's actually a very big one, very important one. Yeah. So eventually, Hanif, right, when you say multi-centric analysis, right? Multi-centric model rather. of CLCs, right? So you will need to show that they're
Okay.
many of these are your CLC or your contribution there. There's your contribution to show that are multicentric. But that said, be careful with the word, with the word multicentric. Multicentric can mean a phenomenon with multi-centers, right? Like this. Can be this CLCs, right? You name whatever CLCs you want to, right? This is CLC. This is CLC. That's it. Could be plantation-based, plantation-owned CLC. The state is one center. The companies is another center. Right? The NGO is another center. So this is state-owned. This is what plantation-based. Plantation. So this is one interpretation of saying that CLC, plantation-based CLCs have many centers, not just state, in a multicentric model of CLCs. But what you're saying is this. What you're saying is this. I'm visualizing what you're saying. It's these are all CLCs. Right? CLC typology 1, typology 2, typology 3, right? With different centers in it. Right, that's what I'm saying. So, actually, I'm thinking both are correct, right? Because the plantation-based CLCs cannot run without the company, without the state, or some have the state, some have NGOs in it, some have parantaus in it. So,
and those all CLCs cannot exist if there is no CLC program by the state.
No CLC program by the state, So, well, they can, but they won't be named CLCs or something like that. It is like what you said, they can start with a tuition or home teaching or something like that, right? But still community learning centers.
Eventually, because of this program, then it transform into CLC.
Transform into formal CLCs.
Formal CLC.
Formal. They can start with the informal CLCs. Because they're still that's why the term CLCs are being used, because it's not formalized in the Malaysian ministry.
They don't use school.
They cannot use school.
They cannot use school.
Because school is regulated by the Ministry of Education. And they will have the ruling, the laws, the acts, the laws of the Ministry of Education. So this one is probably under Ministry of Welfare or something like that. Or they are more flexible. So the informality of these entities are actually important discovery in your research too. I think that informality versus formality.
意思是啥意思来着？意思锤。
意思锤。
意思锤是啥意思？意思锤。
Ministry.
What's the meaning of it?
Ministry.
Ministry.
部门。
部门
Department maybe.
部门，不过部门
Civil.
Ministry is the big one. 教育部长，教育部。
教育部。
教育部Ministry of Education。
比 company 高。
没有，是政府的教育部是吧？政府的教育部最大的。 and each ministry has a minister. But in China, you call it what? Minister too?
部长，对，
部长嘛，部长。
Oh.
Yeah. So, but state here also there's two states, right? The what is it? The federal state, the state government state, right?
Yeah. But that one, that state actually I refer to the
State
Indonesian.
Malaysia. Indonesian.
Yeah.
So there are actually three states there. The Indonesian state, there's also the right. So this is the other part. If I were to think from the examiner's point of view, they might question your multicentric model by looking at the different centers of powers. Different centers of power, right? So the idea of the center of power, where is the center of power? So in your discussion is where you can bring it up, in the discussion, because what you want to argue is that this is the actor's perspective of CLCs, right? The actor's perspective of CLCs. So in the discussion we'll say, well, it functions within the legal framework of Sabah state, also the legal framework of Malaysian government. Because you contrast that in Penang, it doesn't exist. Penang doesn't have the CSCs like Sabah has.
Yeah.
It has, but I don't know, one
Doesn't have.
doesn't have that. So it's both the federal government legal framework with a strong state state promoted policy or state enabled policy. Sabah allows it, Penang doesn't allow it. So actually Sabah is actually more open government than Penang government. Yeah, Sabah is more open. Yeah, Sabah is even more, more tolerant government. They're more fight, but more tolerant. Religiously, Sarawak is the same too.
Yeah.
But this part of Malaysia is more conservative. Sarawak is more open. Religiously speaking, ethnically speaking, so we are more conservative this part, the peninsula part. So you need to capture this debate or discourse or discussion in your research, right? That what you have discovered is a perspective from the actors, right? From the actors, contextualized within the units of analysis of CLCs. So, of course, it's not fake, but it doesn't tell the total story either, right? Because there's the legal framework, so you can introduce that in your intro and also in your analysis later on. Right? So. Even the state, good point is not the state there, there's Indonesian state there. There's Indonesian send the teachers to teach, right? Yeah. Interesting, right? So China should send the Chinese teachers into Indonesia because you have a lot of Chinese workers in Indonesia. Chinese workers in Malaysia too. So China should send the Chinese teachers to teach here. And then UFO can come here, and then can come here to train the teachers too. So Indonesian government, right? There's a Indonesian government, there's a Malaysian government, and there's also the state government, Sabah state government. State government. At least three there. coming. And don't forget the companies. Actually, the companies play a big role here too. Especially for companies own CLCs, which actually a big difference between companies in Sabah and companies in Penang. Then because companies in Sabah, some have permanent structures, right? Like not permanent, they give classrooms for CSCs, right? So and provide the facilities, whatever facilities. Not Penang. Penang companies whatever. So they don't really care about the micro workers. Yeah, you get married, that's your problem. Your children is even more problem for you. Yeah, so just think that.
Because but I heard like someone say that I should not touch the law.
You just have a discussion under the discussion, because you are talking about center of power. That's multicentric, then referring to power as well. So the legal power lies with Malaysian government and state government, right? So and Indonesian government to support resource-wise. Yeah, kind of that discussion. So you want to highlight the limitation of your research, of course, right? You did not interview the companies, you did not interview government officials, Sabah, right? Well, there's one point I noted down here also. Where is it? Let me see that. Okay. About the permission thing, right? You do not want to highlight that in your sampling, but you could have that in your after thank you. You can have that, right? You don't have to. I get permission with it. I don't say that. So let's go to what Joanne is saying then. There you go. Or the title can focus on multicentric model of the actors. They're relevant then. I'll be confused because they're finding called actors, but some of them I think represent the agent. The agent, okay? Hanif must understand the difference of agent and actors concept because he is the sociology now. There's agent and then the actors. Does it really define what are the actors, what are the agents? Agents, I'm not sure about agents now.
Agents?
What agents? Agents are set up at CLCs.
I don't know what does means with agent.
Okay, I don't. You would. Yeah. Well, you just, I don't know, ask your end, maybe, because your end went with you too, to Sabah, right?
Yeah.
Yes, Prof.
Agents,
Yeah.
this is an agent 007 kind of agent, Mission Impossible, or agents, Oknum.
What do you mean with agent?
Yeah, in sociology, there are different concepts sometimes in agent and actors. Agent with more power. They can control, they can manage the rules, but the actors only follow sometimes. Such as your slides, the next slide, right? You're finding in the second research question. Like this, actors, the Guru Bina in Indonesia consultant, for example, you told the actors are teachers, the alumni, the plantation estate, but in the Perantau, no information about the teachers, also the local and NGO, because although they are different type of CLC, they also have teachers.
Yeah,
Okay? Yeah. The difference between actors and agent in this case are very clear. Do you think that the actors means the people who have power to develop, to manage the CLCs? Or actors means all stakeholders or all team on CLC which is also have influence in the CLCs? Hello?
No, what I refer in this key actor is the actor who plays as the main actor, the one who contributes the most in starting up the CLCs and then running up the CLCs. So these are the main players, main actors who directly involved in the community learning centers.
So if the men who have highest powers in your definition, maybe in sociology we use not actors but agents sometimes. Different concept.
Yeah.
Okay, so if in this case, Guru Bina Indonesia consultant, the first typology, the bracket 1 and 2, who's the most have the powers? Is all of this part? Why they have a lot of actors? Then the others only 1 and 2 sometimes.
But this one I'm not studying about the actor who has the most power to running up to operating the education institutions. My focus is not in terms of the power, who has the power, but it's about who I mean, these actors, those are the one who operates the education institutions, the one who initiate the educational institutions. So it's not really matters in terms of power. If my focus is talking about studying about power, then definitely, for example, in the first and second typologies, the one who has the most power is the manager, the plantation estate manager, because the educational institutions under plantation estate must be agreed by the manager, and the one who has who can do some policies is the manager. Guru Bina is just the one who approach the manager, the one who give the idea, the suggestions to the manager that we can establish CLC in this plantation estate. And after the CLC has been established and running, so Guru Bina plays the role in terms of handling, managing the administrative things, connecting with the consulate, something like that. So it's not about power. It's not studying about the power.
Okay. I think you must be clear what is the key actors in your research is.
That means, I understand. So that means, from your understanding, means for this one, this table, if I follow this table, I should only choose specific actors, the key actors. and I should not put other
Who's
actors.
What the yeah?
Okay,
So what's the
understand.
difference actors and key actors? Sometimes I cannot follow
Understand, yeah.
your research because it is a little bit confused. Why? Because every LC has teachers, every LC has alumni, but what the difference?
Okay, I understand. Yeah.
Why you not explain teachers in the local BCLCP? Why you not explain?
Yes.
Do they not have any contribution or something? What's your reason?
Yeah.
I cannot follow.
Yeah, and I understand, Joanne. Yeah, all CLCs, they have guru bina, they have guru pamong. Yeah, but the one who is the key actors is not all of them, but only several actors. Yeah, so I understand what you mean. Thank you, Joanne. And I should not, if I follow that one, then I should not put many actors here. I just put who are the key actors in every typology. So thank you for your recommendation.
Okay, and your first research question? Can I get your?
Yeah, can. Okay.
Belum kelihatan di tempatku melek kayaknya.
Okay, lagi.
Yeah. Oh. Next, the tables.
Okay.
So still running, lag. Next, yang tabelnya ada centang-centangnya.
Oh, this one.
Research questions
Or the bigger one maybe.
Ini ya. Share screen-nya belum tampak sebentar. Ya, oke. Nah, there are team 1, team 2, team 3, right? The team comes from the field because you are inductive. And
Yes, correct.
yeah, maybe the examiner also will ask how you got the team. Okay. Because the team only, for example, simple team is physics and non-physics, for example, right? This is all are non-physics. How about the physics? For example, the geography location, the buildings, facilities, something like that. Because you are go to the field. Your observation result, you watch the location, the standard, the facilities, which is also maybe become part of the, we can membedakan, identify the CLCs based on the basic. Why the basic is not come on your results, not found on your result. They're having like educational accessibility, apply informal operation, protection, for example. It is also a non-basic for simple, right?
Yeah.
But in the non-basic, you can divide it into not divided, but mengelompokkan ya, categorying again, classifying again the similar things of each teams. For example, for the administration part, or for the structure part, or the cultural part, I don't know. The team still masih mentah gitu, masih belum diberi sentuhan tematik yang jelas gitu. Kalau saya melihat di jadi temanya itu menurutku masih saya agak sulit mengikuti idenya Hanif ini karena temanya itu masih apa ya, masih belum nampak payungnya gitu. Gitu.
Thank you, Joanne. Yeah, I understand, but so this 7 teams that emerged actually comes from the respondents, and why I did not include, for example, like physical conditions, because my research methods only based on the interviews, semi-structured interviews, so I don't do observation. So all this data that I show here is based on my interview sessions with the respondents. So I don't take any observations putting into this table. And how come these teams emerge? So I use the test the eye. So when we do interview, then we transcribe the data. So after that, we highlight the codes. Yeah, as I show here some of the 3 teams that is actually related. So here this team, and then the code is this one. So I obtained these codes from the transcripts of my interview sessions with the respondents. So the data only comes from my interview sessions only. So it's not based on the observation. And I think why it's relevant enough in terms of the 7 emerging teams is because it is also already a part of my interview questions to the respondents, to the interviewees. I asked them about the CLCs from the beginning until the end. So from the interview session, so these are the teams that I received. But for your information, this is the one that I have. This is the one that I presented here. The tables still can be changed. Still can be improved or added in terms of the teams, because until now I'm still keep on reading again and again the transcript. So it's normal. Later on, maybe some teams will change. It will be better. I don't know. Maybe we can see later. But at the moment, at this time, these are my 7 emerging teams lah. Yeah, but eventually, for the findings later on, might be not sure. It can be remain the same or can be different, but. So far, this one is quite okay. This one is already from based on my the data is taken from my interview sessions. Joanne.
Okay, the last one. Guru Bina. Guru Bina means teachers who sent from Indonesia to the Malaysia, and they are active teaching. So your finding is typology of plantation owned CLC or the actors comes from Guru Bina. You means that they are still active or not? Or you means in this case is ex-Guru Bina? Because I think if he or she active teachers, they do not boleh untuk build the schools like CLC, because their jobs is teaching, not build.
Yeah, that's true, Joan. But in the case of Guru Bina, the teachers who are sent by Indonesian government to Sabah to teach in CLCs, that's not the case, because that's what I found from the interview sessions. They are still active. They are active Guru Bina. Those are the ones who approach the company. They are active, so they are teaching, but they also do other things beyond their primary job as a teacher.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's part of the finding, which is actually they are not do their job description.
Same goes to perantau. I mean, perantau is also their primary job is working under the landlord, under the estate as a farmer, whatever it is. But the perantau also do something beyond their primary job, which is initiating institutions, education institutions, community learning centers. So guru bina perantau is almost the same. They do something beyond their work. Something that's important, I think.
How they get the access or permit from the SIKK or our ministry?
I think it's all about humanitarian factors. I mean, because that's the main issue in Sabah, right? I mean, there's a lack of education access. So although
that because of humanities or because it is a business.
Everything can turn into business after after the institution is established, right? But at the beginning, it still have the humanitarian value. I mean, the first is we know that there is the issue of lack of education access. So that's why some individuals, actors, guru bina, perantau, they try to do something to handle, to try to overcome the issue within their own community at first maybe. But of course, yes, I mean.
Issues also relate with the boss, our funding, ministry funding, Indonesian government funding for each student. Each student has, kalau nggak salah 600.000 atau 700.000.
Yes, dana boss every year annual.
Dana boss, and then they also still pay again per month for the school.
Yeah.
So is there differences between ladang and non-ladang? For example, non-ladang no need pay months, but non-ladang they must pay. So
yeah, there is a difference between.
I think the ability to manage the money is more power in non-ladang.
Yes, definitely, because CRCs in the plantation estate is fully funded by the estate, by the company. So the children of the parents who work in that company, they do not have to pay anything; they are free.
So in this case, do you think that non-ladang limited access to the money because they can ask money from the parents very openly?
Obviously, I think the CLC community learning centers outside company, I mean, like this kind of typology, perantau typology, NGO typology, local typology, because they are more limited in terms of resources and financial. So it is, I mean, that is why they are becoming more open. They are accepting donations. They also ask the students to pay monthly tuition fees. It's because of the operational cost. If they don't pay anything, then the institution will not operate, will not run.
Okay. So your theme for about financial limitations. What means the limitation? Limitation to get money from the parents or limitation to
This
funding from the other institution or stakeholders?
That
because actually non-ladang feel free to manage their own money.
Yes, feel free to manage more money, but it's not easy to get money. So these teams are actually representing my unit of analysis, which is the CLC. So what I mean in having resource and financial limitation is the team for the CLC, not for the actor. It's the CLC itself. So the CLC is having limitation in terms of resource and financial for this other than the plantation estate learning centers.
Okay, we need to thank you, Johan. I just want to wrap up, but I want to take what the outcome of our discussion here, together with Johan's points now, to a note for Hanif. Yeah. So the key actors. You just need to define how you define what the key actors here. So the person or persons who initiate and operate, right? Persons or person who initiate and operate. I think that's how you're looking at the word key actor here. Is that how you look at it? Yeah. If you look at power based, then it depends on what power you're looking at. So there's a legal power, financial power, what type of power you're looking at. So we just define what you mean by key actor. Maybe the one I can think of for you is the one who initiates, or the ones who initiate and operate the CLC. The other thing that you definitely need to clarify is, now you already have the sampling criteria for the CLCs, right?
Yeah.
You have that one. Now, within the CLC, you also need to clarify your criteria or your selection process of getting the respondents. Who do you identify as your respondent? How do you identify your respondents? So that is something that you need to be clear of as well. Right? So who do you identify as the actors here that you choose to interview, right? Well, the term actors and agents are used differently by different social theories. So if you look at the people like Giddens, people like Bourdieu, they'll look at agents as the person with capacity to initiate certain actions, right? But if your work tends to be more government type, people who give meaning or shoots type, or even grounded theory, people that they will open up the word social actors to be a broader scope, rather. And of course, if you go abductive research, right, the idea of social actors and the power structure and all that is very much an open-ended thing, right? And it's like Richard, not Richard here. That's his name, Scott, the one who talked about the weapons of the week.
James Scott,
thank you. James Scott, when he talks about weapons of the week, the whole argument about farmers who do not have power, they actually have powers. So all relations have embedded power in it. So all factors have embedded power. So it's also a theoretical construct of who the agent is or who the agent is not. So it's a theoretical contestation there. So, and this is hence I particularly like the more adaptive, inductive. But I understand the structuralist argument about the power, who has the power, who not having power. But this is relevant to you as far as your multicentric definition of what a CSE model is, right? So how you define center, and what is the definition of center? Center, I use the word center of power, right? Is that what power you're talking about? So It's a good thing that Joanne brought up. So we define the key, the key actors, key persons here, key actors here, as the one who initiate and operate. Whom without them, the place might fall, or maybe not. I don't know. So initiate. Even you're explaining about initiating, right? They're all the key players are the people who initiate, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So and operate, I suppose. Yeah. Operate. So the initiate and operate. So then people ask, how about if people who initiate but they do not operate? Or people operate but they do not initiate? How is it? But then you got to talk about that, right? How do you address that distinction between the initiators and operators, right? But in this case, maybe they are the same. Where else you want to say? Or you can always say that because it's inductive, right? You have discovered that you do not. You have discovered that people who initiate and operate are the same people, right? Now, I haven't discovered people who initiated but do not operate. I haven't. Is that the case? Right? People who initiate are still operating it, right?
Yeah, still.
Yeah. Okay. But if it's not, you will need to address that situation. Then you need to address the idea of key actors. You know key actors, right? Key actors, right?
Yeah, key.
Key actors are key players, like key actors are so the word actor they come from the social actor. So you can have that discussion a bit if you want to about the term social actors and all that. If you want to, okay. Sorry, 5 minutes past 1. Open it to one more question, one more comment. Anyone? Yes, no. You can have one. Okay.
After our finish, I want to ask you some questions about the paper.
Okay. I tell you, we will adjourn. Can we have lunch and we can have an informal discussion together with Jim people out there. Hanif, anything else?
I think now is enough.
Enough. I think it's enough. Yeah, but again, but the point about the more themes and clearer themes. The way you describe also can be clearer. But then you can always have a legend at the bottom explaining what the themes are. So if it's confusing, it's okay to have a longer explanation of the theme rather than shorter. But of course, cannot be too long and then become sentences. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so you've been together in our group supervision for
2.5 hours.
2.5 hours?
Yeah, 2.5.
3.5.
2.5.
2.5. 2.5. Okay, good. All right, it's been a deep discussion, right? So we'll see you again on the next group supervision. Hopefully the next one, Yelling will coming in. Yelling, I'm still waiting.